Good afternoon everyone, welcome back to the glorious mess that is becoming the kitchen table. Today on the kitchen table I'm just going to talk about the 7th channel and using the slider lever on your Vision 2 remote to move the camera gimbal. Before we do that though, as ever, beverage. It's been one of those days today, so I'm on the double shot of espresso, so cheers. Oh yes. Right, before I go any further, hopefully those of you who are subscribers will have had in your inbox, well, quite a lot of video notifications from me. I apologise, I'm desperately trying not to spam you, but lots of interesting things have happened. The important thing is that I hope you've received the little link to the video I did this morning. Overnight there were lots of, I was getting notifications that people were having trouble with the battery firmware update after the latest release. And so I did a very quick video just to say to people that I wouldn't really update. A certain percentage, I don't know how many, but a certain percentage of batteries are bricking after doing the battery firmware. If you've done it already, it's fine. The firmware itself isn't bad, it's the actual update process. So if you've updated your batteries already to the new firmware, don't panic, you haven't done anything bad. If you haven't yet, I would hold fire until DJI patch the whatever is going wrong in the update process. Having said all that, we're going to talk about the 7th channel. Now, one of the things that I mentioned quite a few weeks ago now was a conversation I had with someone at DJI, a bit of a world exclusive, saying that 7th channel control was coming to the Vision Plus range, and this was kind of generally poo-pooed by people and said, ah, nonsense, and you know, I was told in the next firmware. And nothing happened for weeks, and I think people were thinking that I was talking rubbish. But the firmware has now arrived, and of course we now know why it was delayed. It's because they've launched their new transmitter with the shoulder-mounted jog wheel for tilt. And I'm assuming that the delay was because they were waiting, obviously, for that to be ready to hit the shelves, the hardware side of things, before they could release. What has happened though is that whilst they've activated the 7th channel, they've obviously very closely worked on getting it right for their new shiny transmitter with the jog wheel, and they haven't quite got it right for the lever. Nevertheless, I'm going to show you that it does work, but I'm also going to show you how it works, which isn't quite right for a lever, and it gives you then the choice as to whether or not you want to go out and buy a slider, and also talk about how to fit it. But the first thing is, if we watch the gimbal, you'll notice I've fitted an official DJI slider lever here, and if I'm going to whiz it from top to bottom, and you'll notice, ta-da, it does that. And then just to show you what I'm doing, all the way you'll notice, okay, if I stop, it keeps going, and that's why it's not quite right. If I move it to the middle, it stops. So basically what I've done is to activate that, what you need to do is you need to go into the assistant and you need to tell the assistant that you have the new upgrade transmitter. It will then listen to your 7th channel, but it will assume that rather than a lever, you've got the jog wheel. And the way the jog wheel works is if I move it down, if I move the wheel down one direction, and the gimbal will keep moving until I let go of the spring-loaded wheel. Of course, the lever isn't spring-loaded, so what you need to do is you need to move it to where you want to go and then back into the middle, which will stop it. And as you can see, look, I haven't quite got it, it's still going. It's quite tricky. Not sure it's practical to be used in the air yet, but it is there. The other thing you'll need to do is just calibrate the slider. Because it only moves a very small amount of the potentiometer, the thing you need to do is click this calibrate button and then move the slider all the way from one end of its travel to the other. That will tell the aircraft what the endpoints are, and you'll find then that it will work properly. If you don't calibrate, you'll find that it either only moves the gimbal a very tiny amount or not at all. Now, interestingly, if you tell the assistant that you've got a standard transmitter like this with the lever on the back, and you don't launch the Vision Vision app on your phone or your tablet, this works exactly like a Phantom 2 with a Zenmuse and the lever. In other words, as you move the lever up and down, the gimbal wiggles up and down and stays where you leave the lever, which is perfect. As soon as you switch the Vision app on, it doesn't respond at all in that mode. So it looks like what they've done is they've rushed it out and concentrated on getting it right for their new jog wheel. They have yet to quite get it right for the lever. But it is, you know, it is showing you there that it does work. And I guess with a bit of practice, you could kind of find the center point. The DJI stock additional lever here doesn't have any kind of center detent. I know there are some third-party levers on the market that do, which would be perfect for this. You could actually use it because you could feel when it goes clonk, you could feel when it's in the middle and stop it. It's also rate responsive, so if I move it a tiny bit off center, you get a very slow, slow gimbal movement. If I move it all the way, I get a fast gimbal movement, which again is like the wheel. You pull the wheel a little bit, or you pull it all the way, you get a rated thing. Obviously with the lever, you want it to be absolute. I want to move it to there, and it needs to stop at 45 degrees or whatever. So that's that. So it is in. It just needs tweaking, and I'm assuming we're going to see a firmware update shortly to tweak the way that the lever works, because the assistant actually shows pictures of lever fitted under basic. So they're getting there, but not there quite yet. The lever itself is fairly straightforward. I used, and I've put it down somewhere. Where is it? Let me show Let me show you. Here it is. Let's focus. Focus. Spare part number 24. Phantom slide lever. Okay. That's relatively cheap if you can find them in stock. I found it from a UK dealer who had I think I've got the last one quite some weeks ago, pretty much when I did my initial video. It's a really straightforward fit, although you do need to take the screws out the back of the transmitter and you need to open it up. You then need to fit a metal rod which engages with the potentiometer inside. You then slide this through the hole that's above here and tighten that screw down. This has a sticky back pad on it, and that just sticks in place, and it's done. Very straightforward, didn't find it a problem. The only thing, if you've never taken your transmitter apart before, there's a little collar here that holds the two halves. You can see the join line there perhaps. There's a collar there. So if you take the screws out, you'll find that kind of nothing happens. What you need to do is lift the bottom part away and kind of wiggle from side to side until you pull the back part underneath this collar. I might make if it's requested, I might make a video on how to actually open up the transmitter if people are interested. But otherwise, just be gentle with it, and be careful when you take the back away, because it is there are wires running from this part of the cover to the circuit board on the other side. Don't yank it away; you might pull some wires off. Fairly straightforward, fairly cheap. Other aftermarket ones are available from third parties. Not quite as elegant looking as some of them, but as I've said, somebody already has told me they've had one with a center detent, which is kind of really good for this particular version of the software. So there we go, that was it really. It was just to show that 7th channel on a standard Vision is available. This works if you tell it you've got the upgrade transmitter. This works whether your Vision app is on or off. What it does seem to mean though is that you can't use the app to do the tilt, but then, you know, kind of why would you? So they're tweaking, and there may well be updates coming. But, you know, we're moving in the right direction. All we now need them to do is sort out the issue with the battery for updates for the people who are, you know, like me, not going to update the rest of their batteries until we see what's what. Hope that was of interest. Fairly straightforward. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do a bit more of a how to take the back off thing. It's not too difficult, but I know some people might be worried about it, or if there's anything else you want. And when we get an update that provides it working as I believe it needs to with the lever, I will let you know. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon back on the kitchen table. Cheers!